prevented.
What measures are the most effective and fastest in terms of flowing money out to into the economy so that it stays in the economy and creates jobs and protects people?
Well, first of all, you have to have automatic stabilizers in place, and we stripped those in the early 1990s, and I'm referring here to unemployment insurance benefits, now called employment insurance benefits, as well as social assistance. All the income support structures, except for the elderly, were pared back dramatically in the early 1990s, and we haven't been road tested in a period of massive job loss as to what that will look like. So you can fix income supports immediately, and they should have been doing that for the last few months, but that can be done very quickly to make sure that as people lose their jobs, they have at least some level of income replacement, because there isn't another job to go to. And the second thing you can do is protect mortgage foreclosures. There are measures you can put into place to keep people in their homes rather than having to sell their homes and then try to find a cheaper place, of which there is none. And then the third thing you can do is to make sure that you're creating jobs, because people are losing their jobs. There's no inflationary threat. This is the moment actually to use the jobless to make sure we are investing in the things that are going to prepare us for that next inevitable phase of economic expansion. That means addressing the long-deferred repairs and expansion that is required in infrastructure, physical, hard infrastructure across the country, that, crumbling schools and hospitals, water systems, waste management systems, better electricity grids, and of course the roads and bridges, but also public transit. So those things can all be addressed in a period like this and create jobs. In addition to the physical infrastructure are those things that we know our communities are going to be relying on in the immediate, like social supports when people lose their jobs and they need job retraining and whatnot. There's all these systems that keep people flexible and moving from one situation in their lives to another without entering free fall. And there's of course also childcare, which remains the unanswered social policy question of the last 30 years, since most households require two people to get into and stay into the middle class, and most households, the majority of households, have children, and we don't have enough childcare. This is actually an immediate solution to a long-standing social policy issue that will create jobs and create less pressure in people's lives.
And these are ways to flow money quickly into the economy and get things rolling in a hurry without the kind of delays you run into with infrastructure projects, I guess.
Well, even the infrastructure projects, there are thousands of shovel-ready projects in communities across this country that are only not going forward for want of capital. Primarily because we have been relying on P3 structures, which means that the public money only flows if there's equivalent private sector money. Well, that's what's in short supply right now. And in fact, we've got a federal government that has got a great debt to GDP ratio, one of the best in the world. We've got interest rates at 50-year lows. We've got investors desperate for safe haven investments. This is the time to float bonds and get those projects moving.
One more question. You mentioned P3s, public-private partnerships. What do you think is the future of public-private partnerships? I hate to, with money, investment capital almost non-existent.
I think in the immediate, if we are going to get any massive builds done, it's going to take public money. And if we are not willing to borrow the money to do that, then we are not going to get builds done. And that's a bit of a bruising reality, because even in good economic times, we didn't do the things we needed to do. We are actually facing a generational challenge. The infrastructure that we refused to maintain properly is about 50 years old. Our parents built it with far less resources than our generation has. It is time for us to prepare for the next generation and make sure that what we have, the public assets we have, are in good shape to be passed on to the next generation, and that we are building for the future. So that means not just repairing what we've got, but making sure that the next wave of infrastructure investment is energy efficient, is energy retrofitted, that we are being as green as possible in the next phases that we're doing, investing in public transit systems and affordable housing. These are the type of things we can be doing at this moment of downturn. There are deals to be had out there. We are looking at massive oversupply of condos in large markets across the country. Interest rates are 50-year lows. We have a desperate need for affordable housing. This is the time to be buying across the country and solving some of these nasty problems we've been dealing with for over 15 years at a time of economic prosperity. Ironically, this is the opportunity to actually meet that generational challenge.